You're welcome. That was a beautiful performance by Tels Akimi there. I actually liked it. And now for our art segment, we've got somebody very special here. Obikoya Olakayode Emmanuel is a practicing studio artist and also multimedia sculptor. He's been able to combine various materials together to, give us a special kind of expression, whether it's wood, whether it's anything else. You're in the studio with us, and you're welcome. Good to have you here, sir.
Good morning, thank you.
Good morning, fantastic. So we're surrounded by your art pieces, and of course we're going to be showing a couple more on screen. But first off, can you explain to us in one sentence what kind of an artist you are, if you were to be asked that question?
I'm actually a sculptor, and too, I enjoy my art because it's actually part of me. Because right from time, I always dreamt to be an artist. Because while we were growing up, I had my cousins till date, which are medical doctors, lawyers. But while I was in art class, some person said, "Why don't you do law? Everybody can do law." Because it's not, it's not my thing. Because it's not like maths, everybody writes, everybody gets the same answer.
Yeah, that's
Art
true.
is actually, you express yourself. So right from time, I love expressing myself in the way and manner I feel. But that does not mean I have to be rude.
Fantastic. Now, that's very interesting. What you said at the start, you enjoy your own art. And I think it's an infectious thing. When you enjoy what you do, you can infect other people with that kind of emotion or that happiness, whatever it is that you're trying to push across. So let's start with what we have here in the studio with us. We have these very beautiful pieces. And earlier, I actually had tried to lift one of these up, and I thought that it was quite heavy, but you thought it wasn't. But I can imagine you starting out this piece from a block of wood, whatever kind of wood it was. What is this?
Ebony.
Ebony. Ebony wood. I'm asking, do you know where you're going from when you pick up that carver's knife and that piece of wood? Do you know where you're going?
It actually starts from the mind, the subconscious to the conscious. Because more often than not, it's like you tapping from the realm which you are not seeing. Because first, after having gone through a lot of meditations, you have to draw.
Draw.
Because you can't do art, you can't do it without the drawing. So when you draw, from your drawings, you do your maquette, because what we call maquette is a smaller type. But when you draw, it actually gives you a guide of what you actually intend doing.
Where you're going.
So because you can't do the art, and you actually want to excel in the art, you have to draw, and you have to constantly make your research. It's not just, there's a difference between a professional artist and a craftsman, because there's a far worlds are part of them. A craftsman is just, it learns the art from the streets, on the street. It does not really have, because art, there are terms, technologies, and processes you use. And when you do your art, a craftsman will produce one in 100 pieces. You produce one, you think about the next one.
Exactly.
A totally different thing.
Keep that one unique.
Yes.
Preserve its uniqueness. Let's talk about what we have in front of us here. It might look rather abstract, but I'm sure that it has definition for you.
That's infinity.
What is it?
Infinity.
I thought something like that when I saw it for the first time because of the way it kind of like
Yes, of course.
winds around itself.
And the void in between.
The void in between, that space there.
Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting. So that's infinity. The one I like best is the one, it looks different from the others. It's right in front of us. It looks like a humanoid figure that's in the fetal position. Am I correct?
Yes.
Looks like he's holding something. What is that exactly?
He's actually lost in thought. He's actually deep in thought.
That's a person who's deep in thought.
Deep in thought.
Okay, very interesting. And that wood looks very different from the rest.
That's actually an ebony, but it's a brown one. That's a black one.
Okay, the brown ebony, these are the dark ebony.
Yes.
And right next to you, something that looks quite like this again.
Okay.
What's the theme for that one?
This one actually, the more you look, what I actually intended was like a male and female couple which entangle.
Oh.
Entangle because it's like the human race and the human beings are being lost and mixed up. Because the more you look, you find that like there's a head here, there.
Oh, okay.
And the movement, the spiral movement. And
It's very fluid.
yes, of
Let
course.
me mention, by the way. Very, very interesting.
Because
What do your art pieces go for? How much do you sell them for, may I
Art
ask?
actually does not have a definite price.
Invaluable,
Yes.
I guess.
And more often than not, when you go to an exhibition, it's actually because first and foremost, you can't compare your works with that of the old masters. People like Beno Wanwu, Kalado Shinawa, and because they've paid their dues and they've gone through decades, like 5 to 6. So you don't expect yours to be like them.
Match up to theirs.
So it's actually a phase and it's a process.
Which you will also get to, yes?
Yes, of course. It's actually consistent. You have to constantly work. You don't just, because art, the moment you leave art, there's a gap, there's a vacuum, because it leaves you. So it's all about consistency.
Consistency, okay. Now, the other three we have in the space here on our set What are they? This is definitely feminine.
Yeah, that's a female acrobatic dancer.
A female acrobatic dance. I can see the pose now. Now I get it. She's now I see it. A little bit of definition always helps because when someone sees or views your art, they come up with their own definition, and
Art
then
is
yours
actually-
adds and builds on that.
More often than not, because that art is actually different. What actually prompted me, and art is like a therapy, because it's actually good for the soul. Even those in the medical field and the rest, at times when you are bored, they advise you take a walk.
Yes.
Even the artists, at times when you are bored, you go to a galleries. At times you leave your space, you lose your spirit, you go out, see friends, and go out and see what's happening. Because first, you don't go in isolation.
Yeah.
You have to be in tune with your environment and a lot of things. Because
Fantastic. The horn there.
that's because it actually turns, but that's an African tune, a medicine, an African tune,
Okay.
a horn blower.
A horn blower. So I'm figuring that that's the head on that
That's
side
the
and
head,
that's
yes.
the instrument on the other. And then all the way to the other end reminds me of
distant-
something from the Edo. Where are you from?
I actually grew up, I'm from Ogun State,
Ogun State,
Ijebu,
okay.
precisely, but I have a lot of influence from the Niger Delta, Benin
Yeah, that
particular,
looks very Niger Delta.
because more often than not, because I actually grew up there.
Oh.
Not just schooling there, I actually grew up there, because first, before now, when I was much younger, every holiday I went with my aunt
Okay.
to Benin, and
Okay.
in the demise of my grandmom, so I had to relocate down to Benin in 89. So started a little bit. And funny enough, my aunt's husband was a painter,
Oh,
graduated
nice.
from UNN. So the influence, were three of us which were actually doing the art then. But funny enough, I was the only one that picked it up. The other two are medical doctors.
Wow, interesting. I can see that influence, that Benin influence in that one, and it's very beautiful. Are you coming up with an exhibition anytime soon where we can see all of your work in
I'm
one place?
actually planning, by God's grace, if I'm not doing a solo, maybe a two-man show
Okay.
and all those things.
Do you think it's going to be, well, anytime soon, the end
By
of the year?
God's
or
grace,
perhaps-
this year is already gone.
It's already gone, actually, quite
It's
frankly.
already gone, because first and foremost, I have to talk with, because first, before any gallery agrees to do anything with you, they have to see your quality of your works, and your works have to be good enough so that they can actually market, not just doing an artwork.
Well, I can tell you
Because-
something. Your work are absolutely fantastic. Taking a look at them alone, I can
Thank
imagine
you.
what
Thank you.
else you have in store
Yes, of
and
course.
how beautiful that they would be. I wish I could take one of these home, especially the one with the Benin influence, but you're not going to let me because I can't afford it. It was great to have had you here on the show.
problem.
They're
Thank you.
very fantastic art pieces here, and we're looking forward to that exhibition whenever it is.
problem.
Do let us know, please.
No problem.
Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.
And thank you for sticking around. We still got more. One final guest, and of course, we're going to give you the reveal for our breakfast, which we've been preparing seriously all morning. Stay tuned. We'll be back on Wake Up Nigeria.